The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up the mountain, and after he sat down, his disciples came to him. He began to teach them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the land. Blessed are they who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the clean of heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are they who are persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when they insult you and persecute you, and utter every kind of evil against you falsely because of me. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward will be great in heaven." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Last week, we read from the 4th chapter of the Gospel of Matthew. Jesus began his ministry saying, "The kingdom of heaven is at hand." Sometimes it's referred to as the kingdom of God or the reign of God. It's God's way of going about life. It's the way we were created to live. As we also heard last week, Jesus called others to follow him. He was talking about God's way of life. He couldn't just talk about it. It had to be lived. It was different from the world's way, so people had to see it. Today we begin the 5th chapter of Matthew's Gospel, the beginning of the Sermon on the Mount. It will go on for 3 chapters and will lay out how to go about living God's way. It will contrast God's way with the way of the world. We begin with the Beatitudes. Beatitudes are a very old literary form. There are 45 Beatitudes in the Old Testament. They are present tense statements, and they proclaim people in a certain condition to be blessed. The whole point of this teaching, its roots are all in the Old Testament. Jesus begins with this old form of proclaiming God's blessing, and then his teaching is based in his old roots. His teaching can be found, a lot of it is in the prophets, like Zephaniah. Zephaniah talked about the humble. Jesus talked about the meek. Jesus didn't come out of nowhere with his teaching. Its roots are in their scriptures, the Old Testaments to us. The whole point of following Jesus, of following his teaching, is to become a blessing. Notice it doesn't say, "Blessed are the merciful, for God will show them mercy." It says, "Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy." We are to be people who comfort, who show mercy, who feed, who are peacemakers. There will be conflict in following the way of God. As we heard in the very last of the Beatitudes, blessed are those who are persecuted because of Jesus. God's way turns the world's way upside down. No matter how much good we do, people will oppose us. And this leads to a question that the Sermon on the Mount poses to us. In every aspect of this sermon, we'll hear this question. Do you trust God enough to live God's way? Do you trust God enough to step into God's reign, to live the kingdom? Are you willing to do it now, even though you will be out of step with the world around you? Many people proclaim that God wants certain things for us, like comfort or wealth, and they attract followers who want comfort or wealth or whatever they're offering. St. Paul said very clearly, Jesus is the wisdom of God. He alone shows us God's way and calls us to follow.